we're live here in front of Los Angeles Police Headquarters.
Yes, so if you have all the names of the speakers I listed in the package, but we'll talk about it too. Yeah, will this be, can you hear this?
Mic check.
Mic check?
Mic check on channel 4.
Okay. Yeah. You good? All right. Hi, good morning. My name is Hamid Khan. It's spelled H-A-M-I-D. Last name is spelled K-H-A-N. I'm an organizer with the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition, which is a grassroots coalition of various members of the community, grassroots community-based organization, students, formerly incarcerated people, unhoused residents, cultural warriors. And we're gathered here today to speak about and expose the inherent racial profiling that keeps on getting reported by the Inspector General Audit of the Los Angeles Police Department's Suspicious Activity Reporting Program, or SAR, S-A-R. The SAR program was started in 2008 in the city of Los Angeles as a part of a national initiative as a counterterrorism and national security program. But what we have seen over the years, and which has also been proven by 3 Inspector General audits in a row, including the most recent one that'll be released today at the Police Commission meeting, that it is adversely impacting, and clearly we see overwhelming evidence of racial profiling. Racial profiling, particularly of the black community, and now this one we see a huge spike against the Middle Eastern community. So what we have is a program that is fundamentally flawed by design, that create conditions and give police extraordinary amount of power to target people based upon activities that are constitutionally protected. The SAR program is defined, and it defines suspicious activity as observed behavior reasonably indicative of pre-operational planning of criminal or terrorist activity. So it's completely speculative policing. So in essence, people who are taking photographs in public, people who are using video cameras, the activities that you all are engaged in is considered suspicious, which leads people to go into these secret files, and we call them secret because you can't even find out if you are in one of those files. We also want to call out the Inspector General's audit, because this audit is not really an audit. It completely lacks any critical purpose, but it's more of a report. It doesn't give any comprehensive overview. It doesn't dig any deeper. It doesn't look at the impact. It doesn't look at the bias issue that are going on. It doesn't look at the resources that are being invested in these programs. So we're going to have a few speakers who will speak about it. First of all, I'm going to invite Ken Montenegro from the National Lawyers Guild to say a few words.
Good morning, my name is Ken Montenegro. I'm with the National Lawyers Guild. I'm National Vice President of the National Lawyers Guild. Montenegro is M-O-N-T-E-N-E-G-R-O. First name is Ken, K-E-N. And to support what's already been said, this alleged audit by the Inspector General is really the California rolling stop of audits. It feels like an audit, but it's not really an audit. And at the end of the day, this is the 3rd time that the Inspector General has led the people of Los Angeles to believe that they're performing due diligence in terms of clarifying what these secretive programs do. And in reality, all they're doing is providing makeup to this program. The National Lawyers Guild is very committed to supporting the work of the on-the-ground organizers, because they are the folks in touch with folks directly impacted. And the folks directly impacted, as has already been said, are traditionally marginalized communities, black communities, brown communities, poor communities, Middle Eastern, North African communities. Those are the folks that are targeted by these programs. We also have to put in the context of this is a program from the Los Angeles Police Department. LAPD is the most murderous and amongst one of the more opaque police departments in the country. This completely builds on their legacy of cracking down on folks who are part of the fabric of our city. The street vendors, the unhoused, they are our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, our friends. The SARS program continues to target and to profile them. These files are secret files. I think we can't stress that enough. In an allegedly democratic society, the fact that the city of Los Angeles allows and pays for these programs is truly a shame upon what we call democratic structures within the city. People are not informed when they're in these programs, which is very analogous to larger programs like the California Gang Database. There's no clear way to get off these lists or programs. Once a SAR is filed, even if you try to use instruments of law like the California Public Records Act, you hit a brick wall. You can't find out if you're on it. Therefore, in a Kafkaesque way, you have no way to get off it if you don't know you're on these lists or registers. And I think finally, if we look at the alleged data, and to think about it, the Inspector General generally rubber stamps the LAPD. If the Inspector General is saying that 56% of these SARs are unfounded, what does that say about the program? What does that really say about the program? This audit, which is very weak and comes from a bias, I would have to say, shows that this program is a failure. It shows that this program needs to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'm going to invite Dr. Lena Blood, who is with Black Lives Matter and the Chair of Pan-African Studies at Cal State Los Angeles.
Good morning. My name is Lena Abdullah, M-E-L-I-N-A, A-B as in boy, E as in David, U-L-L-A-H. So one of the things that's really disturbing about this program is that it ramps up the criminalization of black people, of brown people, of Muslims, and it creates criminalization of folks who are not criminals. So it makes us appear to be engaging in criminal activity, or at least suspicious activity, when the activity that we're engaged in is just regular everyday activity. Activities like taking photographs. I'm a professor. I encourage my students to take notes. For those things to be considered deemed suspicious activities as hugely problematic, it really sets up the kind of murderous and violent behavior on the behalf of LAPD that we've been seeing. As Ken Montenegro pointed out, LAPD kills more of its people by far than any other law enforcement unit in the nation. And so if we want to roll that back, we also have to roll back the targeting and the alleged suspicion of people just for their identity. And so the suspicious activity reporting is hugely problematic. It's also problematic for organizers because we know that the targeting is zeroing in on organizing behavior. And so we need to think about that as well. And then finally, what I'd like to say is that it's also pitting community against community. So it's kind of this turn your head and not pay attention to the violent and murderous acts of the police department and instead be suspicious of your neighbors. See something, say something, right? Well, what we see and what we want to say is that LAPD keeps killing our people, right? And so we need to remember what it is we're fighting and not be fooled by their allegations that we should be suspicious of one another.
Thank you. And finally, our last speaker is Jamie Garcia, who's an organizer with the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition.
The IG audit claims that the SAR program surveils behavior and not people. This is a complete smokescreen and a play on words in practice. In fact, the IG audit claims, as the numbers show, is itself racist since it pathologizes people of color as inherently criminal. There is a person behind the behavior, and in reality, it's that person that is deemed suspicious. The audit shows that overwhelmingly numbers of persons engaging in supposedly suspicious behavior are non-white. Now, the SAR audit also claims that there is no evidence of biased policing found in officer contact-generated SARs. Yet, how can the community trust the IG's finding? Because regardless of how much the community reports biased policing, we are never believed. For example, as per LAPD's own reporting since 2013 and up until today's report on biased policing, there have been 1,517 biased policing allegations reported against LAPD, and 0 have been sustained. LAPD continues to lie about prolific amounts of profiling that is occurring in its ranks, and it continues to do so within the SAR program. As we have heard, the Inspector General's audit on the SAR program continues to demonstrate a clear pattern of racial profiling. The facts show that the SAR program is a license to racially profile. To close, the acts of global violence and war cannot be won by weeding out community members as if the people of Los Angeles are responsible for acts of war. Let us be clear to address and understand that it is those persons in office that engage in irresponsible and criminal foreign policy that are responsible for perpetual war. The SAR program only continues the irresponsible decision-making that we see on a global level. The continual persecution and incarceration of people of color and poor people will not make the world safer. The SAR program must be rescinded.
Thank you. So in closing, what our demands to the Police Commission today are that the Police Commission must take immediate steps to put a stop to the SAR program. They must release all SARs to the public, and people whose constitutional and civil rights have been violated should have full rights for reparation. And LAPD should immediately start a process to rescinding the suspicious activity reporting program and terminating the iWatch See Something, Say Something program, because in essence, what you have heard, what the U.S. Senate has said, what the LAPD's own Inspector General is saying, that this is a license to racially profile. It's a waste of resources. It's creating a culture of suspicion and fear. It is planting a seed for violence. We saw what happened. We saw what happened in Florida. We saw what happened with Trayvon Martin. When George Zimmerman called 911, he said there's someone suspicious in our neighborhood. He saw somebody suspicious. He called that person a suspicious person and murdered him. So there's a high potential of violence. So we're demanding that this should be stopped immediately. So I'm going to open up for any questions if you all have.
Have your name again, spell?
It's Hamid, and last name is Khan.
What is it?
Hamid Khan.
What evidence are you seeing? I know they're not telling you the names and stuff like that, and reporting who's on it. But what are you seeing as far as evidence that's happening?
So we have filed several Public Records Act requests. We actually have filed a lawsuit against the LAPD. The LAPD refuses to release these programs. The lawsuit is going to trial on November 22nd because it's a super secretive program. But the information that we have gotten is absolutely just dumbfounding, because there was some of these SARs that were released by the Sheriff's Department about 3 years ago. So instances like one example being that young students from Brentwood Art School are on a field trip, and then they are being stopped by the Sheriff's Department because they are on a photography field trip. Next thing you know, that information is gathered. It goes into Joint Terrorism Task Force databases and is shared with 18,000 other law enforcement agencies and other public and private sector agencies as well. So in essence, what you're doing is that people who are engaging in completely constitutional protected activity, and they know that, they claim that, they keep on saying, as one of the speakers said, well, we surveil behavior, not the person. But there's a person behind the behavior. So in essence, so when you look at these numbers, you see a very high rate of racial profiling, and that's what the Inspector General audit had released as well.
I understand you may be going to the Police Commission at 9:30. What do you plan to reveal or say, or to the Commission that?
So at the Police Commission today, it's going to be a unique situation where, because we demanded that when the Inspector General releases the audit, that's item 3B, that the community should have its time as well. Because the department comes up and they speak about it, so we're going to be presenting a slideshow inside the commission for 15 minutes, and we're going to be lifting these things up and putting our demands. People are going to be making public comments. People are going to be speaking about it, and people will be demanding that the Police Commission, instead of being a rubber stamp body, should take action and end this program. Thank you very much.
So I'm going to go ahead and go inside of the Police Commission meeting, and everyone's going to be coming in. So I'm going to stop streaming, and I'll be back live at 9:30. So leave your browser open, I'll be back. And the group that was speaking right now, that was Stop LAPD Spying Coalition. And Melina Abdullah of Black Lives Matter, she was also speaking. Both of these organizations support one another. Well, Black Lives Matter doesn't really endorse any other groups, but they're cool. Okay, bye.